Hi, I'm Michael Bartlett, and I've been running for about 5 years now, and I'm training for a goal of a 135 half marathon in Myrtle Beach on October 17th.
Hey, my name is Jack Stevenson. I've been running for on and off about 20 years, but more seriously here in the last 4 to 5 years, and everything he just said, 135 Myrtle Beach in October. Looking forward to it.
Hi there, my name is Joel. I'm running the Georgina Marathon on October 17th with a goal of qualifying for Boston with a time of 3 hours, 20 minutes, and 10 seconds.
Hey everyone, welcome to DevRunner. My name is Paul. I'm a certified running coach, and this is episode 9, believe it or not, of Chasing PRs. This series follows the runners on screen with me as they execute training plans that I've designed to help them reach their racing goals this fall. I'll be sharing running tips and advice to help everyone become a faster, stronger, and healthier runner. So please like, comment, and subscribe below. And don't forget to ding that bell so that you get notifications whenever I post a video on my channel. Okay, you can also catch everybody on screen on Strava so that you can give them all the encouragement and inspiration that they need to get through the rest of this training cycle as we sort of bear down on the more difficult parts of this training cycle. With that said, guys, I do want to give a shout out. I did have plans of being prepared for this evening to talk a little bit about the mental side of marathoning and half marathoning, but I'd like to flesh that out a little bit more before I come to you guys with that stuff. So everybody who's watching can expect that next week. But one little surprise for everyone watching and for these three gentlemen is that I spent the last couple of days reworking their training schedules for the second half, where they're going to be concentrating on speed. But I wanted to give them a little bit of a challenge along the way and something to keep things interesting as well. So rather than just putting them through 6 or 7 more weeks of just hard training with no means of gauging their current fitness, I thought it might be a little bit of fun to add a time trial into all of their training cycles. So Jack and Michael will be participating, I assume, unless they shoot me out of the sky right now, will be participating in a 5K time trial, which will take place on Saturday, September 25th, just to give them a little bit of encouragement so that they can see the fruits of all the labor that they've put in up to this point. And Joel, prior to his October marathon, now has a half marathon time trial as part of his training schedule, and that is going to take place just the week after next, which will be September 12th, where he will be doing a little warm up, a little cool down, but the meat and potatoes of that day for Joel will be participation in a 13.1 mile race, which will hopefully be mostly at marathon pace for him. But guys, I'm sick of my own voice already. So any thoughts on any of this before we jump into your review of your weekly training? Anybody have anything?
It'll be fun.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm ready for it. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, cool. All right, you guys are going to do well. I mean, the only thing I want to say up front to all of you guys is you will run very solid because the training you put in has been so consistent and so strong. I think you can all expect great results out of your time trials, but I don't want you to expect the kind of results that you'd see if there was a taper involved, because you're going to be coming off of tired legs. Even though there will be a mild, small taper going into these time trials, it's not going to be enough to give you full recovery so that you're flying at your absolute best. But it will give you a strong indication of the fact that you are capable of some amazing things compared to the kind of times you guys were running before this training cycle.
Do you expect PRs?
You know, for Jack and you, Michael, I'm thinking you're probably going to be looking at right there, dude. I think you're going to be so close to the goal you've been after 5K wise for a while now which we all know. Anybody who's followed my channel in the past knows that Michael's been chasing a sub 25K. And I think if it's a cold day, and I think if you guys get some good rest the 2 days leading, because the 2 days leading up to your time trials will be easy days to give you the benefit of a little bit of rest. But I think if it's a cold day and you guys manage some good sleep, you may just pull off a sub 20. I seriously, realistically think the two of you might come in with a 19-minute and change 5K time trial, which also bodes very well for after you run your half marathons. I think if you guys wait a couple of weeks, get some solid rest in, and then head back to the track for another 5K, I think you guys are going to run a low 19 easily. And with that, Joel, I know you are going in wanting to run the half marathon, at least the first 10 miles, as we discussed earlier, at marathon pace. And I know you were very enthusiastic about just going full guns ahead, which I think would be good for your soul. But I think for the sake of a great dry run, a great practice run for the marathon itself, what I'd love to see you do is run the first 10 miles of that half marathon very systematically, very rigidly holding to your marathon pace. And if you're feeling great after that first 10 miles, just take the reins off and fly, brother. So,
I'll try.
Yeah, I mean, I would
I'm
love
gonna try
to
and do that. Yeah.
I would love to see you run like a 140 half, and I think you're more than capable of it, because what you've done already in the past with some of your long runs that had marathon pace miles in them, you handled them. So I think you're more than ready to run a 140 or better half marathon.
Yeah. I'm just going to try and remember to keep those 10 miles marathon pace.
Yeah, that's the hardest part.
But it will be hard because it's going to be kind of an exciting event, but do my best.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like it's always hard to run the first. The best way to run any race of any length is always run the first 3/4 of it with your head. Stick to your plan, and then at the end, when it gets tough, that's when you let the heart take over and you just go for it.
Yep.
All right. With that, folks, let's get right into it with Joel to talk about the past week's training, the 2 speed workouts in the long run, and just see how it's been going for you, sir.
All right. So Tuesday, I had a big, I guess the biggest track day so far. And it went well. I was a little hesitant to really push. It was the first week after I kind of hurt my hamstring a bit.
Yep.
But hamstring was fine. And when I had the guts to really push, my last interval was a 400, and it was a personal best. So
awesome.
Yeah. So that was a good interval. The rest of them, a little slower, but tomorrow I'm going to go again, and I'll push hard tomorrow. Feel good.
Yeah, and you're in the midst of you just started a down week, so you can count on a little bit of extra rest afterward. So yeah, I encourage you tomorrow, not to stray too far off subject, but feel free to really go for it, especially now that from this past Tuesday you've got the confidence that you are back to 100%.
Yeah. Okay, and then the Wednesday was the 10 miler, and it was fine. It was really essentially the same speeds as I've been running on my 10 milers on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
It's been ridiculously hot again, for what feels like this is the second week of every day with sort of heat and humidity warnings.
Yeah.
So it's been hard. It's been more difficult, but it's within that 10 milers is, I feel like it's fine. On the Friday, I had the tempo run, 6.5K tempo as part of a 13K run.
Yep.
And I was really happy with the speeds that I hit. They were definitely by far the fastest. So that was really good.
I was really impressed when I looked at that one on Strava. I remember thinking, oh man, he's got all the he's got all the energy left that he needs at this stage of the training cycle. And it's just things look really good for you. I mean, you know, going through this down week, hopefully you get a little extra rest, and then all three of you are heading into the toughest 3 weeks of the entire schedule. So, you know, I encourage you all, take advantage of naps, take advantage of sleep. You know, and I know I always say that with kind of like it's a bit of a joke in the case, in Michael's case, because I know his kids are just, you know, keep him awake for most of the night. So,
His kids don't sleep. They just don't sleep.
But yeah, just catch rest, eat well, because if all goes according to plan, all three of you will really seriously hate me 3 weeks from now. And then you'll love me again on race day, because these next 3 weeks will be tougher than your race. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. So Joel, yeah, I'm sorry. Keep going.
No worries. Yeah, on that run, I was really happy. It was, I didn't feel like I was kind of surprised. Like I didn't feel like I was working hard. It felt relatively easy that day.
That's awesome.
In hitting those speeds. So I was kind of excited by that. Then Sunday came around and another really hard run. You know, and I was trying to keep, for the first half of the run, I was trying to keep things.
Now give everybody an idea of the kind of distance you had to cover on Sunday.
So what I set out to do was kind of make up for the week before where I had a disappointing 35. There was 35.5, which is 22 miles.
22 miles, yeah, it's a long run.
It was
especially in the heat.
Yeah. And I started off early, and it was interesting. I was really kind of watching what was happening with the heat. So I started off at 6:30, and I had the pack with the tailwind in it. I had gels, but I also carried a bottle. Like I had half a liter of water, and which is a first. And so everything was great. I got to the halfway point. I turned around. I'm like, okay, I feel good. I'm going to start to slowly dial up the speed.
Awesome.
And the heat just started. It was kind of interesting. The heat kept getting higher, and I was okay. I could feel it. I could feel the heat coming on. And then there was like just one moment when it was like, that's it. And I was like, I could feel myself being throttled literally by the heat. And I would stop. So I stopped a few times in the run, and I'm like, it is so strange, because I would cool down a bit and then I'd start running again. Everything's fine. I'm not even, I felt, and I could run right at my pace that I wanted and everything. But as soon as I heated up again, I had to stop.
Yeah. And that's exactly what, if you look at the tables, it's the same. The heat index, in the way it affects speed for runners, works exactly the same way as the dehydration curve does. You see performance goes down gradual, and in the case of dehydration, it's gradual for the first 3.5% as far as your ability to perform where you want to. There's this magical point at 4% where everything goes to garbage all at once. As soon as you're either 4% dehydrated, or as soon as your core body temperature gets past, I forget what the exact number is, but it's like 100 point something. And then good night. It doesn't matter how strong your will is, your body's just done at that point.
Well, the interesting thing is I just looked at I kind of didn't really want to look too closely at the run, but I just did before the call. And my heart rate each time before I stopped was spiking to like just bizarre levels.
Yeah. And that's the attempt of your body to try to pump more blood to the surface of your skin to try to cool itself. Yeah.
So, I mean, when I finished the run, like physically, I felt like I know I could have run a marathon that day.
Yeah.
Physically, I felt fine. It was just this strange, throttling effect with the heat. So in the end, you know what, I'm happy with it. And
Yeah, you should be. That's your second week in a row going like 20 plus miles.
yeah. And I know it's gonna cool off in the next couple of weeks. And I'm looking forward to seeing what happens then, because a couple of weeks ago I had that cool day and it was, probably one of the best long runs I've ever had.
Yeah.
These last two were nasty, but I'm looking forward to some cooler weather.
Yeah, and I'm sure, including myself, I am as well. But one thing I just want you to know is that those 2 weeks, you may have been disappointed in what you were able to achieve speed-wise on those long runs, but the benefit that you got physically from them is considerable. You know what I mean? Like, I'm in the same place. I don't want to get too far off subject, but my Sunday long run for my own training this past Sunday was not, I had stellar plans for myself and I did not hit them, but I console myself with the fact that, I still got massive benefit out of that run. So, just, take this week easy. This is supposed to be an easy week for you. Don't go out it's a shorter long run that you have coming up this coming week. I'm sorry, I'm scrolling as fast as I can. It's like a 16 mile.
16 miles. Yeah.
16
miles.
And it's an aerobic run. So take that on the slow side of aerobic, because the weekend after that is when you're doing your time trial. And don't leave a good race performance out on the roads next weekend. Lay back.
Yeah.
Take it easy this week and get yourself ready for a big performance. Because
Awesome.
that race day will build your confidence, and it's something you're going to be looking back on when you're struggling at mile 18, 20 of the marathon and you're looking for a reason to keep pushing. I want you to be able to look back at that race and what you really were able to do.
Awesome.
So, sir, with that, thank you. And Michael, I want to bounce it to you to talk about your past week. You've had yet another amazing week of training, and I can't wait for you to share it with everyone.
Yeah, so it was a good week. Last week was a little bit of a down week for myself and Jack. I think we did 32 miles.
Yeah.
32 or 33, somewhere around there. Tuesday we had half mile tempo surges. Those went really well. I did those on the treadmill. Really consistent. Right around that 7:05 pace.
Perfect. That's right where you should be for tempo runs.
Yeah. And then on to Thursday. I actually got outside Thursday. Not sure whether that was good or bad because it was very, very hot. It was after 8 a.m., I believe. I don't. Yeah, it was like 8:30. Excuse me. So it was just really hot. And I went out with the intention of running pretty hard. We had three tempo miles. So I did a couple mile warm up and then got into the tempo at the park here. And just sort of looking at the run right now. I did 3 miles. My average pace was 6:52.
It's amazing.
So I was running hard, but kind of what Joel said, like my splits were 6:35, 6:56, and then 7:03. So like as the temperature got up, I was slowing down tremendously. So, that third mile is 30 seconds slower than the first one.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm
it was like all I could do. So like that was just that was sort of level where I was at.
That's to be expected from the heat, as we were just talking about with Joel. But I hope you're really proud of that performance, because I mean, for you to pull that first mile off at those kind of paces,
that 6:35 felt really, really good, and I felt like if the heat hadn't have been there, and I was running directly into the sun for like a third of that loop.
Yep.
I feel like if the heat hadn't have been there, I probably could have held that 6:30, high 6:30, 6:40 pace somewhere around there.
Yeah. So
my legs had it my legs had it in me.
So keep that in mind when we head into the 5K time trial in a few weeks, because if you can do that unrested in the heat, I'm hoping that we are lucky enough to see some more mild temperatures by the time you guys hit your time trial. And that just spells it out right there. I think you're even unrested. I think you guys are probably looking at it. You're going to be right on the bubble, possibly going, the both of you going sub 20 for your 5K time trial. So, that run pretty much proved that to me.
Yeah. So, it was a good run, but like I said, the heat just sort of pulled me down. And I will sort of make note of this. Like I am running, my easy days a good bit slower as this training cycle has sort of, moved along.
Yep.
Just to let everybody know. So like normally my easy pace is sort of like that high 8 range, 8:30 to 8:50 or so.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we're well into this training cycle, I'm 9+ minute miles for those easy days, because it's just what I need to recover.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm learning the same exact thing in my training. I'm only 3 weeks into my training for my marathon, and I'm already starting to back way off my easy days. Like for me, 8-minute miles is my easy pace. It's just naturally what my body does. And I'm forcing myself to go slower because I'm finding that when it comes to those workout days, there's just not enough left in the tank. So I'm just backing off, hoping that kind of saves me as the weeks go by. So well done. Good call.
Yeah. So then Saturday came along. It was another hot morning, dew points in the 70s, mid 70s. So it's naturally, bringing my aerobic pace slower as well. So that was 11 miles. It was a good run. I did it by myself. Jack had some obligations that morning, so it was a fun run. I actually did enjoy it. Looks like my pace was 8:54, so it wasn't too bad. But tried out. They're not necessarily tried out a new route. The route I hadn't been on in a long time, so changed up the scenery. So it's sort of made it go by pretty good.
Yeah, that's always fun when you can run someplace new. But cool, man. It sounds like you are making all the right moves, and it sounds like your fitness is really in a good place. I'm always telling you guys a lot of positive things and kind of cheering you on. But I mean, the good news is none of this, I don't have to fake anything. You guys are just impressing the hell out of me. Speaking of that, Jack, I can't wait to hear from you because you're doing equally as amazing. We're deep into this training cycle now. Everybody is pretty much in the early portions of the speed phase of the cycle, and we're just going to be cranking it over the next 3 weeks, and it's going to get tougher and tougher. But you guys are just like, you're ahead of the curve. Just to put it another way, you guys are faster now and more resilient than I figured any of the three of you would be. You're just killing it. So Jack, take it away. Tell us about your past week.
Yeah, well, very similar, obviously very similar to Michael in the fact that we had the same workout. Interestingly enough, we flip-flopped the 2 workout days. So he did his Tuesday strides out inside. I did mine outside for the tempo run. And quite honestly, guys, when you mentioned that just a moment ago, I'm like, I can't even remember last Tuesday. I'm like, what did I do? I said, okay, I get it. Yeah, we did. I think it was like the 3 or so miles in between. So I did that outside. Again, I felt generally well on that one. To Michael's point, I'm gonna play the hot spiel. It was hot. It really is. The it felt good. I think kind of what I was saying a little bit last week on what I really enjoy about these midweek workouts is it enables me. I feel I can really start pushing a little bit of that speed. And then on those intervals, when I back off, I'm in my mind, I'm trying to not back off all the way down. I'm trying to lessen the back to keep it not to a completely so easy pace. Cause for me, it's really hard for me to like go real slow and then start back real fast again, kind of a thing. So
Okay.
so I'm starting to kind of gradually pull it down. That felt quite comfortable. I do recall that from Tuesday's morning run, which I felt good with. Thursday I did the or was that the tempo run? That was the tempo. No, that was the tempo run, right? Yeah, Thursday. Okay, so Thursday was the tempo run that I did.
Okay.
I did that on the treadmill, and yes, it is like I've told Michael, it is night and day difference right now running outside here than in the day. I thought the Thursday run was my most favorite, best run of the week for me personally. It felt really well, and it felt like it went by really fast. I didn't have a lot of complaints on it, Paul. It was
Awesome.
it felt good. And one thing I do like about the treadmill, I can get up to those, I can see those paces. You feel like, so the interesting thing though, my watch has a hard time catching up to the treadmill pace. So I have to kind of remember what the treadmill says, because this watch they don't talk to each other very well.
Same with mine.
On the treadmill. So
same with mine.
so so I always try to talk about, okay, is the treadmill adjusted? Because I try to remember actually what I was running those miles in. So again, the tempo pace, I think the first one I started right at, it was 7:04. Didn't go to 7:05. It started 7:04. And then I felt really good with that, and just barely started etching it up to belows in those high sixes.
Gotcha.
So I was able to actually to kind of roll those 3 miles down just ever so slightly before, I went into the cool down. And again, it just felt good. That one felt great. Felt really good with that. Saturday, as Michael said, I had a non-sleeping kid that night.
Okay.
That pushed me to Sunday. So, I can just say my experience, what Joel was talking about was I felt it. What he was explaining is exactly how my Sunday went. I ran the same. I was inspired by Michael's route, so I ran the same route that he did. Believe it or not, Michael, there's more terrain on that elevation than I remembered it being. So so there's a lot of rolling hills on that road. It's all out on main road, so it's all sidewalk. So you're dealing with some traffic, you're crossing some highway and of that nature. And again, it was Joel's same way. I physically, I felt great. I felt, even as the mileage went up, it was feeling good. And it was like that one hit, like I just feel like my legs just got so tired, and it didn't and then I was like, well, gosh, now I can't breathe, because the heat was truly a thing where I was like, I no matter what I could do, I just couldn't breathe. And then you'd slow it down for a little bit, and then all of a sudden, like, oh, I feel great again, I can go. And so you pull it back up. Yeah. And then you go for a few miles, and then it comes right back down. So it was just very interesting that Joel had that same experience, because I lived it on Sunday. The run itself was, it was okay. I think, considering the element outside that morning, once the sun hit the horizon, it was a tougher run, but it still was definitely a bit of a struggle. Just trying to keep a consistent pace on that, because of I needed some time to let the heart rate drop, let the body temperature drop. I did refill, I did the gels. Awesome. So I kept that going. So thankfully, I think that helped push me along, particularly at the end. I felt like mentally, once I was able to caress 9 miles, I was able to kind of pop it through to the rest. I saw the light at the end of the tunnel, but it was a tough run. And it's like, and again, it's one of those frustrating things is like, I don't feel physically tired. It's just, you can just tell there's that force
Yeah.
that,
Oh yeah.
that
Yeah.
you're having to struggle with. So,
Yeah.
but overall, I mean, it was a good rest, more of a down week, rest week. So I was very overall pleased.
Great. And the big thing is Joel's been experiencing it for probably 3 weeks now. But Michael and Jack, you are, as of tomorrow, we're filming this on Monday night. And so tomorrow you guys are headed to the track for the first time during this training cycle. So it'll be interesting, Jack. One thing that you said when you're describing your week last week, when you were talking about your surges and not wanting to slow down too much in between them for the downtime, that will be something that you're going to have to get used to at the track, because I want you guys in between those. Trust me, the way you guys need to approach the track for at least the next 3 weeks is hit those intervals as hard as you are physically capable of doing and take full rest between. Do not go out for the next interval until your heart rate is down at a comfortable level and you feel completely oxygenated and ready to go. You get more benefit out of pushing as hard as you physically can and taking those breaks as far as raising your VO2 max than you do by hard interval, slow down a little bit, hard interval, slow. That kind of stuff works better as icing on the cake after you know how to max out your speed and after you've raised your VO2 max, where you just don't even give yourself a break. I mean, you do a little bit, but you don't get as much benefit out of that now at the early stages of the speed training as you will later. So hit it as hard as you can, make it painful, and then take as long a break as you need in between them.
So you said, I think we talked about it last week or the week before, you said around 2 minutes in between each one.
Yeah, because I mean, you were talking about, I know Joel, you mentioned how your heart rate has the ability to go down fast. So, yeah. I mean, don't put a time on. Like for me, generally like 90 seconds works magic for me in decent weather. When it's hot, then of course, yeah, I just take all the freaking time I need. I've got a towel. I get myself nice and dry. I do everything. I just preen and prune out there and do everything I need to do to hit the next one as hard as I can. So,
okay. Well, because to your point, Jack, on the track, like when you do get really comfortable again, you're all rested, then you have to go do it again. It's horrible.
Yeah, but you'll get to the point where you actually enjoy it. You really will.
Well, with the 1 mile, like by the third lap, you're like, oh, I'm in a rhythm, and then it's over again, and then you have to start from scratch again. Yeah, no, I find that really hard. Like it's more painful. I think that is definitely more painful than just running, because my tempo run on Friday, I was hitting speeds that I am on the track, but you can just maintain it. Whereas for me, the stopping and the starting is it's tough.
Yeah, and it's funny because over time you will start to notice, like Joel, you're saying, there's a lot of similarity to your top end speed that you can maintain when you're on the roads, as there is to like when you're doing a 1600 on the track. But what you'll find over time is that if this one's your road top speed maintainable, this will kind of go up slowly, but this one will just start, your track, your short interval track speed is going to start going through the roof.
Yeah, of course, that makes sense, makes total sense, but in reality it's not there. It's not quite there yet. Maybe tomorrow we'll see what happens tomorrow.
Yeah, no, it took me, I always notice it around the 5 or 6 week mark where suddenly my top end speed, I remember I was running like 84s, 400s in like 84 seconds was like the best I could do. And then suddenly it was like, what the hell is going on? And I could run 73s. I was like, where did that come from?
Nice. Yeah.
So at any rate, guys, there's nothing but good times ahead for all of you because you're all in good shape to attack this kind of speed stuff that's coming. So, next week will be your first taste of it. And by 2 weeks from now, you'll probably start to be getting a little bit sick of it because it'll start to wear you down. But just tough it out. It's 3 more hard weeks, and then everybody's going into their taper. So just put up with me that long, and I promise you will get the results on race day that you want. With that said, everybody, we are about to run out of time here with Zoom. So I want to say, get healthy, stay strong, and keep pushing. Peace out. Thanks to you guys, and thanks to everybody who's watching. We'll catch you next week. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks.